Hey class, today Mr. G is going over the things that you need to get done today. Okay, so for surface design, today you guys are just continuing working on the paper quilling elements. Now you should have a large amount of paper quilling elements that you guys have, the little bead pieces, and you've made a ton of them at this point. So now we're going to start adding them to the letter shape. Now I probably already mentioned this again, like how do you add them to the letter shape, but that's what we're kind of really working on today. So again, looking at our example piece, you guys are adding the bead elements, the quilling pieces around your letter. Now remember, the key is you want to emphasize the negative space, so the space around the letter. So the negative space of the letter itself, you want to try and get the quilling pieces as close to that line as possible. You're filling up those gaps, filling up that space. Remember, manipulate the quilling pieces, pinch them, twist them, build those little shapes out of it so that they can interlock together. That way you fill up all that space and there's no additional space of the paper bleeding through, because as I stated before, the negative space inside that letter is what you're trying to emphasize. So if you have these little gaps, it's going to take away from that negative space overall. So make sure that you're covering everything out, and it's just a thin little bit of layer of glue. Again, if you need tips, I got the quilling video on my main channel, watch that. But just putting a little bit of glue down, putting the quilling pieces on top of that, and just letting everything kind of marinate and set. I do recommend that trying to get all the quilling pieces added on the paper at least 20 minutes before the end of class. That way it has time to dry and kind of set up so that when you put it into your cubby and you put it on that tilt, that 45-degree angle, they don't slide right off the paper. So make sure that you kind of stop adding the quilling pieces at that point and just start working on building more quilling pieces for the remainder of the period. That way you're taking care of, you got stuff to do, you're not having any dead time, so that you can make sure that your piece is done on time. Now again, I'm going to have these things out for examples, so take a look at them, look at the different shapes that I've built, that I've manipulated with, so that when you create your own piece that you've manipulated shapes to make it more interesting, instead of just kind of flat with these basic round pieces, that you've added some like teardrop shapes, some star shapes. You've just mixed it up. It makes an overall better piece, and it makes an overall more interesting piece so that people are engaged with your work. Don't forget, if you guys have questions, raise your hand down in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys next class. Until then, later guys.